Hello, this is another Sunday. Probably been 2 weeks since the last video. I'll walk up and down, show you a little bit of what's going on. See the fruits that are being put on. Growing. We're picking some, but we still got another week or so till we start getting some serious blushing. These are the better boys. We're going to try a little different method on pruning the suckers. Here you'll see we have the cluster of tomatoes that come right off the stem, and with these suckers is basically another plant growing. And with some of these, as long as they stay short enough, we're going to allow these to flower and then head them off, and that will, it's possible it may double the fruit. The challenge will be getting the fruit to set as the temperature increases in here in the tunnel. But we should see something. For the most part, everything has been really healthy. Here's what we call that curly top. It's some sort of a virus transmitted by an insect. It doesn't seem to transfer from plant to plant, but we're just going to let these clusters fruit out and then terminate the plant and put another one in there. Here we got some bunch of tomatoes on this workhorse here. And there's our basil. Some of the purple basil is going to flower, which is what we want. That'll attract some beneficials. And the Genovese, which is over here, we're harvesting that. We pinch off the tops to keep them from flowering, to let them bush out a little bit more. And those will go out either as gifts or in bulk with the tomatoes. We're looking good. Everything's really healthy. Doing well. Some of these, it's a matter of greed for me personally, but I let the fruit start pretty low, and it's a little bit of a challenge to keep them off the ground. We lose some of them, but I figure half of it we get a little bit more than as if we didn't. So far that's been working okay. Lots of tomatoes. Lots of tomatoes. And here's our French marigolds. One thing I notice is there seems to be a little frog or a toad in here in each plant, because in the early mornings you can hear the different plants croaking and talking to each other. Let's take a look at the Amish paste over here. These are putting on some serious weight. You can probably see the cable up here. I don't know if you see it in the camera, but where the plants are hung, the cable is dipping quite a bit from the weight. But those are anchored to the outside on those T-posts. And then there's anchors drilled into the ground there to hold that, to keep tension. These smaller ones are early replacements from those curly top issues. Nothing is ever 100%, but it's 100% fun to see these grow. This one here got attacked by a tomato worm, ate it down. Not super worried about it. It's going to it has a little bit of growth here. It'll start a new central shoot. You get a little bit of delay, but hey, that's the organic life. This sucker will overtake this stem that got eaten down, and this will be the new leader that comes up. That's the nice thing about indeterminate plants, is they keep growing. Little bits here, little bits there. Tomato, tomato, tomato. Look at all that. These are the ones that I like for paste, but they're good for fresh slicers too. And some of them seem to get pretty enormous. And this one right here we're looking at is about 5.5 feet tall off the ground. And given the sweep as the stem comes up out of the ground, it's a full 6 foot. More, more, more. Make hay while the sun shines. This one down there is a replacement, and it's a challenge. It gets shaded out by the previous plant there, but we're hoping it'll come back in and catch up. Like I say, nothing is ever 100%. You set your intent and get them to where you want them to go. This one was a casualty of snapping the top off while we were winding the string, and I don't know if it'll make it, but it has one leader here, and actually it's two. This one looks like it's from below. We're hoping it'll catch on. We're just keeping it now to ripen the fruit that's already on there, and if it doesn't make it by that time, then we'll probably pull that plant. And once we get to a certain temperature in here, the fruit tends to not set as much. The blossoms require some fairly dry air, so the pollen will spread. And what we'll do is come in here during the middle of the day, like right now it's about noon, or a little after noon, and we'll start coming in here and vibrating the strings with a little tool that I made. Thank you, Ryobi. And to help with the pollination, is the bees and the wasps don't tend to come in here quite as much when it gets really warm in here, like 85, 90 degrees starts to keep them out, and we're probably pushing 90 in here now. These are the cherries fruiting up. Picked a handful last night. Those were pretty yummy. These over here are the Cherokee purples. They are putting on some serious fruit. They're looking really nice. Got one over there, got eaten up a little bit by a caterpillar. I don't know if that will come back or not. We may come through here with some diatomaceous earth and some neem oil to coat some of the leaves a little bit to discourage their feeding. But anyway, that's the fun. We're coming along really well. I would give this a really high mark for health. And we're still doing lots of trimming each time we come, every other day. More leaves equals less fruit, so there's a fine balance that you want to create with the foliage and the fruit. Too much nitrogen, you get too much foliage, and you don't get the growth. So it's a little bit got to do the dance. As Margot mentioned before, we have dill interplanted all around here. So sometimes you can just sit here and you get a whiff of tomato, whiff of dill, and a whiff of basil. Pretty yummy. Okay, that's it for today. You take care.